This is evidence of the Bible outside of the Bible. The discovery of the Caiaphas ossuary back in 1990.
In 1990, a stunning discovery was made in Jerusalem. The Caiaphas ossuary, a limestone box inscribed with Joseph, son of Caiaphas. Caiaphas, the high priest who played a key role in the trial and crucifixion of Jesus, is a central figure in the New Testament. This ossuary contained the bones of a man around 60 years old, which aligns with Caiaphas's age during Jesus' time. The ornate design and inscription confirm that this was no ordinary person. This was likely the same Caiaphas mentioned in the Gospels. Josephus, the Jewish historian, also records Caiaphas as high priest, further linking this physical evidence to both biblical and historical texts. The ossuary is one of the few tangible connections we have between the Bible and archaeology.
First, let's look at this and see how Christians build a false case, a case that will fail in any court, a case based on circumstantial evidence to prove their Jesus, to prove their Yeshua. So this ossuary of Caiaphas. Caiaphas, first, being a very popular name in first century Judea, does not denote that this was the actual Caiaphas as mentioned in the Bible. If he was Caiaphas, the high priest, then the ossuary would have said Caiaphas, the high priest. Because just like you go to a graveyard today, if someone was a president, it says president. If someone was a senator, it says senator. If someone was a pastor, it says pastor or reverend. That's what you see when you see the tombstone, the people who held position. If this was truly the Caiaphas who was the high priest, his position would have been on the ossuary. Now, although the ossuary was ornate, the tomb itself was not. If this was truly Caiaphas, the high priest, then his tomb would have had some level of ornation, I don't even know if that's a real word, within it, but it did not. See, Christians like to build these circumstantial cases that says that since Jerusalem existed, since Pilate existed, since Caiaphas existed, and we have proof that these three things exist, then therefore Yeshua existed. And since Josephus talks about Yeshua, but which Josephus talks about 3 or 4 or 5 different Yeshuas, up to a dozen, then that means that the Yeshua of the Bible actually exists, even though the Flaviana Testimonia has been proven to be added to his writings as either a complete forgery or an addition to and change. So they try to build these circumstantial cases, but does these circumstantial cases prove that Jesus was God? Does it prove their Trinity? Does it prove that he performed the miracles by which they claim that he performed? Did he heal the woman with the issue of blood, cast out demons from the boy tied to the chain to the rock? Did he do any of the things? Heal the blind, heal the man at the pool of Beersheba. Probably saying that wrong. Bethesda, pool of Bethesda. No, it doesn't prove any of those things. Because the same circumstantial evidence can be utilized to prove the gods of the Ifa, the gods of Allah, Brahma, the Hopi, any of these other gods. The same circumstantial evidence can be utilized to prove them as well. Even worse, that same evidence can be used to prove Captain America and Spider-Man existed. They both have met presidents. They both have met people who actually lived in history. Hell, Captain America punched Hitler. Did he? Was there a super serum that was created? And that super serum allowed Steve Rogers to become Captain of America? Did later copies of that same super serum create other people? No. Did it create Luke Cage? Did it create U.S. Agent? Did it create any of those people? No. Does Spider-Man walk on walls and have a spider sense? I mean, he was in New York. They both are in New York. They both met Obama. They both were there for the World Trade Center when it got bombed. Does that mean that these superheroes exist? And does that mean that the villains also exist? You would say, no, it's comic books. But to someone reading the comic books 1,000 years from now, and being able to say, here's New York, here's President Obama. Spider-Man must have existed. Same evidence used to prove the same thing when it's all just false. So what do you guys think? Does this ossuary of Caiaphas prove that the Jesus stories and miracles are true? Always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.